And we are live. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk About Networking for another episode. I don't think we had one last week, actually, so welcome back, everybody. This is a 20 minutes, 25 minutes of our week where we get to talk a little bit about networking, about somebody's business, get to know a little bit about them, and then hopefully encourage you to want to get involved in some networking as well. Today, I am joined by, well, one of the most experienced networkers that I've certainly talked to on here, Mr. Andrew Jones. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well. This afternoon. I've just had my dinner, so I'm feeling good. Got a sugar rush going through me. And what have you been doing this morning?
It's been a busy morning, so yeah, I'm glad you've had your dinner because I've not stopped. So I've already had 2 BNI meetings this morning, my own chapter, BNI Genesis. So we've been on since 6:30 doing that, and then straight on to 2 of our launch groups. So we have launch groups every Thursday at 9:30, and me and Louise have just finished running that one as well, which was great.
Love that. So I tell you what, let's go. Let's talk about your business first, because you know that's really what you're here for. You know, let's get a bit of promotion out there. So you are, from what I've been told, you have a reputation of being an epic mortgage broker, protection consultant. So please tell us about your business, I suppose, to start with.
Yeah, so I'm, as you said, a mortgage advisor from Identity Financial Solutions. We're based in North Manchester, have an office in Alderley Edge. Me and my business partner and his wife. We're a small group, we're a family business. But between us, now me and Chris and Sarah, we've got over 30 years doing this. I've done it since I left university. I did a financial services degree. It's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever loved. We do things the right way, and I think that's what stands out. We often lose business because we tell people it's just not the right time for you. Yeah. And I think that's why people then come back to us, they recommend us, and when we pride ourselves on doing the right thing for people.
Love that. So why do you think you love it? You know, did you wake up one day when you were 14 going, I want to deal in mortgages? Or how did you fall into it? You know, what drove you to be able to want to do it? What's your why?
I stumbled into mortgages. Yeah, okay. I really did. I've always enjoyed finance. So when you mentioned the age 14 there, at age 14, when everyone does the work experience at school, I went into an accountancy firm. Everyone was like making things with their hands at the dad's joiner's place, and I went to an accountancy firm and put a suit on and got stuck in there. And like I said, did a financial services degree. And from that, I did stockbroking, financial advice, and just stumbled in. Someone once asked me, do you do mortgages? And at the time I said no. So I looked into it, did the exams, passed them, and then that was then when, yeah, dealing with finances is great. You build a relationship up with people, but putting someone into the dream home and giving them the tools to keep them in the dream home, that I actually found pleasure in doing that, and that's what I really, like I say, I got a love from it. Nobody wants a pension, and you want a pension when you're 60 and 65 and you want to enjoy your retirement. But a 20-year-old doesn't want a pension. What a 20-year-old is, they want the first flat or something like that, and that's what I love dealing with first-time buyers, young families, and helping them move up the ladder. I've got people now, like I said, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years now, and I've got people that bought a flat and are now in a 4 or 5 bedroom house with the kids and running about in the garden and everything. That's the good thing about it, and that's why I do it. Seeing people, I put a post on, I'm going to say LinkedIn, I'm sure it was LinkedIn the other week, and as I say, my why is dealing with first-time buyers, seeing and hearing, well, not seeing it, but hearing the passion in the voices when you phone them up and say that the mortgage company have just sent the money to your solicitors, you can go and pick the keys up. That's just brilliant.
Love that. So what does a kind of a perfect client look like to you then? And you will have spoken and done funding and mortgages for a wide range of people. We know that applicants come in many shapes and sizes. is there one type of client that actually you think, yeah, that's really good for me? It could be a first-time buyer, it could be a remortgage, it could be whatever it was. What's that look like?
There's two types that I really like. Say first time buyers are brilliant. You've got those for life in terms of a client. Do the right thing for them at that first purchase, and they'll keep coming back to you. But then you've also got your landlords, your property investors. They're ideal for me. The kind of people that are buying 4-5 properties a year. They want your advice, and that's what I want. I'm not here. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not an order taker. I like giving advice to people. Someone that phones me up and says, I've got this going on at the moment, Andrew. What do you think's the best thing for me? And we can sit down and have a conversation, and I can actually give them the benefit of my expertise and the years that I've been doing this.
Love that. I love that. And of course, that's then led into you wanting to expand your business. And one of the ways that you generate incoming referrals into your business is through networking. So I suppose what I would say for now, take us back before you kind of used the network, before you got involved in any networking, and lead us up to the point that you thought, actually, this is something that I want to do.
Well, my very first foray into financial services, I worked for an American company called Edward Jones, and there was a firm of stockbrokers, financial advisors, and their model was based on hard graft. You weren't allowed to talk to clients, to pitch them, give them advice until you'd been out on the streets and knocked on over 1,000 doors.
Wow.
And you built up a client base. Now that was a baptism of fire in terms of getting into, and that, in a sense, that was networking. That was going out in the local community and letting people know that you were setting up business.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. It was hard work, but what I realized was there's got to be a better way of doing this. There's got to be a better way of reaching 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And that's when I reached out for networking, trying to reach 20-30 people on a weekly basis who then all know 1,000 people.
Yeah, it seems easier. Yeah.
So then they're just spreading the message for me, and you get and you get the referrals, don't you? And that's how BNI works, isn't it? It's about your fellow members are your sales team, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, you certainly. I think if you educate your network correctly, then they can be a very, very effective sales force, can't they? I mean, how much does the education of members come into it?
I think it's a difficult balancing act, isn't it? You don't want to replicate. You don't want to turn people into you.
Yeah.
Because they try and do too much then. So the education part is just giving them that nugget, that piece of information that they can say to, oh, you need that, well, Andrew can help you with that, rather than them doing your job for you or trying to do your job for you. So it's a difficult balancing act, isn't it? And that's what I always try to do. It just give them that nugget of information that, for example, with myself, I don't charge fees for the advice that I give. So just that simple thing that they can say if someone's talking about a mortgage, or Andrew can help me, and oh, by the way, he doesn't charge a fee, so you can just have a chat with him, and then you can find out if it's the right thing.
And how did you get invited down then? Or did you make a kind of a direct approach to Genesis?
Yeah, so I'm one of the odd people that reached out for BNI, and I'd been in other networking organisations, and I got the spiel: don't go to BNI, it's the devil. It's really pressurized. There's a lot of pressure on you, and I got to a point where I was going to coffee clubs. I wasn't getting anything from it, so I thought, well, let's give BNI a go. And I reached out. So a contact I had in the mortgage industry, I said, do you know of any BNI groups? Because I know seats are difficult to come by, particularly in mortgages.
Yeah.
So I reached out to a chap I know, and he just said, look, I've heard there's a place in Ashton. So Alistair, who very first person I spoke to in BNI, he phoned me up and he invited me along. And to this day now, still speak to Alistair on a daily basis. We send each other stupid little WhatsApps and keep in contact. And I reached out, and best thing I've ever done.
Very good, very good. So, talk to me about the early days of then BNI. What did you feel, and what did you actually find? You know, did it take some time to get going? What are the things that you wish you'd have done better? Talk to us about them early days.
I mean, networking for me is hard. That's the hard part. This bit now. Yeah. Talking to people, standing up and being a president in a chapter, being a director consultant, I love that. Going in a room of 30 people that I don't know, I hate.
Yeah,
and that's the hardest part of networking for me. So that's me. You've got to challenge yourself sometimes. So that's me stepping out of my comfort zone. So going to Genesis in the first early parts was tough. One, there was a mortgage advisor there before me, so you've got to overcome that barrier. That everyone's got relationships. So it's just getting out there and speaking to people, having loads of one-to-ones, and putting the legwork in. And I think that's when I hark back to my days with Edward Jones. Doing a few one-to-ones, a couple a week, is a lot easier than knocking on 1,000 doors. And that's why that's what the way I view it. And yeah, I might be uncomfortable speaking to people in the first instance, but once you get to know them and my insecurities change, I then get the opportunity to like have these more personal interactions, and that's when you get to know people, isn't it? And
absolutely, yeah, you're right, and it is. I will not take anything off anyone who doesn't say they find it difficult to walk into a room full of business people and try and make a good impression. You know, it is tough. You don't know who to talk to. But what I have found, and hopefully you'll say the same, is that whenever I've been to a group, or as a chapter, or as we call it, if you're not familiar with the terminology, I've found them very welcoming. I have to say, I've never found a chapter where we haven't been welcomed in and said, you know, come on in, you know, you're one of us.
Yeah, exactly. And being a direct consultant now, you go to many chapters that you've never been to before, and that you walk into a chapter and everyone, it's like a big family, isn't it? And everyone's just welcoming. Everyone wants you there, and that's what I try and get across to the visitors now. Is that I'm so grateful for you being here and coming along, and all the other members are grateful for you being here. So thank you for taking the time out of your day just to come and say hello to us.
I love that. And of course, you mentioned a couple of times kind of the term director consultant. And again, for people maybe watching that aren't familiar with the terminology, director consultant is a member which supports one or many other chapters. And we help to support the members within them chapters in their membership, so they can get more out of their membership than maybe they were first expecting. So, of course, you're a well experienced, well-established director consultant, but your focus right now is on creating more opportunities for businesses that haven't used referral marketing as a strategy. So, tell us about them groups that you're helping to create.
Yeah, so myself and Louise, we had a vision. There's a terminology right there. I was launching some groups last year, and the pandemic hit, and everything kind of went a bit pear-shaped. But from that, there was one group that launched online. Kate, the director consultant there, has done an absolutely amazing job, and that's BNI Vision. So Louise and I sat down to formulate a plan on how we can grow the local areas and benefit the local economies. And our vision was that we can do this online. Networking is a lot about face-to-face, but there's a real convenience about networking online. So we've taken the decision that all the groups that we're launching now in the region, in Greater Manchester, East Kirklees and Calderdale, are going to be online chapters. So we've started the first two very recently. So we've got our online Tameside and online Kirklees and Calderdale with a set out plan on how we're going to do these. And then we're going to replicate it, and hopefully the big plan is that we're going to do 6 new chapters this year. And that's all just money going back into those local communities at a time when the business people, the local people need it most.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's all about that recovery now, isn't it? And that's what I know. That's what drives you. So tell us about this online offering, then. This online proposal, because traditional networking, let's be frank, has been very much face to face in a conference centre somewhere or a hotel lobby. And of course, the pandemic has given us options now. So there may be people watching this who are going, okay, online. So how does that work then? How are the relationships built being purely a virtual meeting?
Well, one of the benefits we had with BNI is one of the core values is tradition and innovation, isn't it? And when the pandemic hit, I think we missed one meeting, didn't we? As a whole nation, we missed one meeting, and we very quickly went on to Zoom. And as you've said, traditionally these were face-to-face meetings, but chapters have developed, and I think not all chapters are going to go back to face-to-face because there is I think I've just mentioned it. There's a convenience of networking online. You don't lose half an hour traveling to the venue. You don't lose half an hour traveling back. And it's that convenience, but I think there does has to be an aspect of face-to-face. And what we've said to the people joining these online new launch groups that we're doing now is please do have your one-to-ones face-to-face. Social aspects of the groups are going to be really important. We're going to make sure that there's regular socials so you get that interaction, and that's when one of the things we said today about the focus we had today on the learning point of the meeting was about learning interesting facts about your fellow members in your one-to-ones that you have, because it's not just about your business, it's about the personal life and what you learn, and that often tells you more about a person than the fact that they're a mortgage advisor. The fact that they were in a band or that they love crochet or something like that tells you more about them. So what we've said is you're only really going to get that when you're doing that face-to-face. So have your one-to-ones face-to-face, have your socials face-to-face, but for the convenience of the meetings, we can do it online. And the meetings themselves are absolutely no different than a face-to-face meeting. The referrals are still going to be passed. The thank you for the business, the actual monetary gains that we get, the invoices that we send are all exactly the same. The app's exactly the same. It's just we're not getting breakfast brought to us. You've got to make your own. You've got to make your own toast.
How did you? Looking back then to March last year, and we were all locked down. Boris said that we couldn't play out with our friends. How did you? What were your initial reactions from a business point of view then, and how did you adapt?
I mean, I'm fortunate in that I'm probably in one of the industries that whilst it quieted down, never really went to ground zero.
Yeah.
I mean, mortgage companies, the mortgage processing companies really struggled in terms of there were no staff in. So we just had to adapt in terms of our expectations. A mortgage used to maybe go through in 4 to 8 weeks. We then just have to change our expectations that because of staffing levels at, say, HSBC or Santander, that mortgage might now take 12 to 16 weeks. And again, I've been fortunate enough that with the stamp duty holiday, with size of deposits decreasing that people need, we've actually grown during the pandemic, and I'm probably busier than ever at the moment. So I've got to be really thankful for the situation that I'm in. But we still had to adapt because whilst networking was face-to-face, my business was face-to-face. I build relationships and going into someone's house, clocking the pictures on the wall, learning things about the family, seeing that they've got some golf clubs in the corner, that kind of thing. That's how I build up rapport with people. And my meetings for a year have been exactly like this. I've had to build rapport with people online, and that's a lot more difficult. But you learn little tricks, and it becomes more about having just a conversation. And I think that's we had Al Tepper at Genesis this morning. And one of the things he said was that we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And I'm very much in my meetings when I'm face to face, I'm very much I lead the conversation. I ask questions, but what I've learned on Zoom is to let the client speak, let them tell me what they need more.
Love that. So going back to networking, what are I suppose there'll be people maybe watching this now or later on, and they're going, okay, well, they may be in a similar industry to you, Andrew. They may be in the finance industry, and they're thinking, well, I could always do with more business, couldn't we all? We could always do with more business, but not quite sure where to start, or maybe they're nervous about it. what's the advice as a director consultant? What's the advice about that? What should they expect?
I would just say, and this is probably advice that I probably needed to give myself.
Yeah.
As I've said, the insecurities of going to these is just get out there and do it. One of the benefits of Zoom as well is that you don't have to go into that room and be confronted with 30 people, because it's just a computer screen at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which it makes it a hell of a lot easier. So I just say, get out and do it. It's not for everybody. Networking isn't for everybody, but if it is for you, my God, it works. It really does. If you put the time and effort in, you get the rewards for it. And I would just say, take advantage of like the Zooms that we've got. Kickstart, it's not just for new members. All members are welcome, whether they be from our region, any region. Come along and see what we're doing. We had some members there today. We have some members from Genesis, from all over the region, coming along. And just interacting and networking, because at the end of the day, that's why we're here, aren't we? To speak to more people and get more connections.
Yeah, and you never know who you're talking to. You never know who they know. So we've got a couple of people who've said hi on the chat. We've got Susie from Genesis. Hello, Susie.
Hi, Susie.
We've got Hi from Vision. I'm not sure who Hi from Vision is, but unknown.
Guessing that's the chapter that we talked about, Kate's chapter in Cheadle.
Yes, absolutely right. And we have the living legend that is Graham
Campbell,
who's always Afternoon, Graham. So whilst we've got 2 or 3 minutes left, we may as well highlight the success of Genesis as a chapter. You are a member and a director consultant, so it would be wrong of us not to mention Genesis, how good they are at what they do. And actually, let's mention any key categories that they may be looking for, because I'm sure there's business waiting in Genesis for categories that you don't currently have in there. So who are they? And let's give some recognition to Genesis.
Yeah, so Genesis is a fantastic chapter. I am so proud of what they do as a group. I was president 2 years ago of that group, and it's an amazing group. Been going nearly 20 years now as a chapter. There's Stephen Howard, who's been in that all that time. He's a piece of the furniture. The accountant, he's absolutely brilliant. There's so many fantastic members in there. Every one of us is an absolute diamond. So who we're looking for at the moment, we had this conversation at the meeting this morning. So one of the things that Darren, the website designer, is really looking for an expert in SEO, so search engine optimization. So that's a key category we're looking for. We've got a really good trades team. So we've got a great builder, great roofer, painter, decorator, electrician, but we need a plumber at the moment.
Okay, all right.
So the trades team are fantastic, and we can really build a great power team around them as well.
Love that. Right. So I suppose the last question is, where can people go to find out, firstly, more about yourself and identity, and second of all, more about Genesis?
Okay, so Identity FS, we are on Facebook and Twitter in the main, and our handles are dead easy. It is at Identity FS on both of them. Myself on the same on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and in terms of the groups, me and Louise. Yeah. Me and Louise have set up Eventbrites for Kickstart. You can find them through Louise's profile, so that's Louise Eccles Cookson. And all the groups in Greater Manchester, East and Kirklees and Calderdale. We've got our bnionline.co.uk, our regional website, and on all the events that we've got there. We've got tons of events every week online at the moment. The business builders are open to anybody, not just BNI members, and you can learn all sorts on them.
Love that. Love that. Love that. And yeah, there are groups popping up all around Greater Manchester East, Kirklees and Calderdale, and Lancashire as well. Lancashire. Of course. So, if basically, if you're in the Northwest, we've got something for you. Let's be frank. So if you are thinking, yeah, all right, I want to grow my business by referrals and having that byproduct of getting to know people and having some more work friends and whatever your situation is. So it's nice and warm in here. So come along and meet us. So with that, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. What are you doing for the rest of the afternoon? Last question.
actual mortgage work now. It's been BNI all morning, and it's on to my clients now, making sure that they get the houses that they want.
Wonderful.
And then kid time tonight.
Yeah, of course, a wonderful family as well. Great, have a great afternoon, and we will see everybody. Oh, by the way, one thing I was going to mention, sorry I forgot, but if you didn't quite catch where to get in touch with Andrew or Louise in Greater Manchester, East Kirklees, Calderdale, just put your name in the chat and just go, send me some information, because we'll be in touch. So anywhere you see it, send me some information, we'll be all over that. So great, have a great day, and we will